It's always great being joined by the champions of the modern game, and Max Gawn's been good enough to join us on the show tonight. Great to have you with us, Maxie. Hey, when you started this AFL journey of yours, could you possibly have imagined that you'd have a fortnight the like of which you've just been through?
Yeah, hello lads. No, it must have been in the fine print. I didn't read it.
So take us back to the flight up to Queensland, and then what happened thereafter?
Yeah, so we had to isolate for 48 hours to get into Brisbane, and then on our way up, Brisbane wanted to go into lockdown, and they diverted our plane from Gold Coast to Brisbane. So when that happened, there was a bit of a red flag, and we stayed on the tarmac for sort of 4 or 5 hours, and just flew back and played Gold Coast the next day, then flew to Perth for 7 days quarantine, and then played in one of the more interesting games I've played in on Monday night.
We'll get to that in just a second, but how did they divert the plane? How did you know the plane was being taken to somewhere else?
I was lucky enough to get 1A, Mick, at the front of the plane, and
I know it well.
The flight attendant didn't really know who was in charge, so he just went to 1A, and he called me to the front of the plane and said the AFL was trying to make contact with the pilot. They want to know if they want to go back to Melbourne or land in Brisbane. And I said, none of the above. We're playing Gold Coast.
You should have said Cancun sounds good. Off you go. Why would you go to the Ruckman? to divert a flight.
So, what are you doing now?
What am I doing now? I'm currently isolated for 60 hours, so Adelaide are allowed to come into Melbourne.
That's not worth
it. I'm drinking beer and talking footy with my mates, so we're all doing it.
So take us back to Perth, Max, and this crazy game, 6 minutes into the last quarter. Tell us how it all played out as far as you could tell.
So apparently a storm was above. James Harmes reckoned he saw the lightning, which worries me a little bit because he was looking probably the wrong way. And the umpire came up and told me, he goes, can the captains come to me, please? And unfortunately, Luke Shuey wasn't playing, and he just quickly forgot who the West Coast captain was, the umpire. So I had to calm him down and say, it's Jeremy McGovern, he's behind you. Let's go talk to Jeremy. And so he said, go back to your change rooms. You'll be there for at least 20 minutes. And we were there for half an hour and came back, and West Coast were ready to play.
As the tallest player on the ground, you would have been pretty happy to get off, I reckon. That beard would have gone up in flames.
Everyone else was quite annoyed, but I was quite relieved because I felt like the lightning might have been coming towards me if it was anyone.
Yeah. Maxie, I just wanted to say, you are a wonderful player. Who has redefined what it means to play in the ruck. I mean, with your hard running, you're practically an on-baller. I just wanted to say that sincerely. But also, your marking overhead is underrated. You're not afraid to get involved in the game and get involved in a big pack mark. This year, no exception, by the way. There's been a couple of big packs here with Cody Waitman taking his screen. You know where to be. Like Mitch Georgiadis here, like that. You put yourself in a position, and you are involved in Mark of the Year contestants almost every week, Max.
How do you reckon?
Have a look here. You're top of the ladder. It's been an outstanding year for the club, and we want to talk about that. But before we get there, true or false, you finished second in a pizza-making competition for Domino's one year.
Yes, I worked at Domino's Pizza for 4 years. It was a great time, to be honest, and they sent one person per store in Victoria. I was representing Bentley. To a pizza-making contest, and I came second. I missed a piece of pepperoni.
No, you know what they say in pizza-making competitions? If you don't finish first, you're last.
And also, Mickey, just to clarify, Max, when it came to arranging frozen ingredients on top of a pizza base, there was someone better at you.
Yes, there was. I unfortunately, on a Supreme Pizza at Domino's, there's 8 bits of pepperoni, and I unfortunately put 7. And that was the only mark I missed.
You cheap bastard.
Yeah. They would have been hard judges too if I know Domino's. Probably 3 blokes around a coffee table smoking a bong. I think so. What do you think a flag this year erase some of the hurt from the pizza making competition?
It does, and it definitely will. I've got a laminated piece of paper that has got me second in the Domino's pizza. That's still up on my wall, which is so hopefully that can come off my wall and I can put a medallion on.
Excellent,
Done.
Excellent.
By the way, I know I said that you're involved in some big marks.
That was a cheap shot too. But
I know. I said you've been involved in some big marks this year, by the way, and it would be remiss of me
Bit of respect.
not to mention that there's nothing compared to that Liam Ryan mark from a couple of years ago in 2019. Have a look at this one. Maxi, has Liam Ryan rung you to thank you?
I actually really like my effort in that. I ran really hard back and I ended up getting horizontal in the mark. So no, the two this year. Let's just say I'm all for Jack Riewoldt, and I've asked all my family and friends to get on the voting panel, and I think Jack Riewoldt is the best mark hands down.
Well said.
Beautifully said.
I like your style.
Beautifully said.
Max, we mentioned what a role the club is on, the team is on, but a lot of congratulations must go to you as the captain. Yeah, for showing that you are a leader among men, and the club seems to have got around you, and it's all heading in the right direction. I knew you had what it takes when I saw your sensitive response on the topic of concussion when you were talking to the media.
Yeah, I think he passed the test as well, and that's one of the only things you have to do as a player. And then I think he's sort of self-nominated himself. To be fair, I've made that pretty much all that up. I don't really know that.
You can actually see the moment when I lose control of that answer.
Brain stops ticking.
You talk about how great this man is as a captain,
Magnificent
supporting his
captain.
teammates. They can always count on him being
He'll do
there.
anything for his
He
team.
will do anything for his teammates. Like he did this for Tom Bugg in a JLT game a couple of years ago. You were there for him when he needed you to take another screamer. You really are you're a selfless man. That's what makes you the best captain in the league, Max. I want to say that.
I'm surprised you've only found 4. I think I've been at least 10 times.
Hey, Max, you're carrying on the magnificent legacy of a former great Melbourne ruckman who did wear the number 11, of course, Jimmy Steins, who did some magnificent work for the footy club, obviously on the ground, but off as well for the Reach Foundation. I know that that's something that's pretty important to you, and you're continuing on Jimmy's legacy.
Yeah, so the round for Reach is this round for us against the Crows on Sunday, and it's been a tough time for a lot of people in COVID, but I feel like that demographic of teens and adolescents have really missed out on a really important part of their life. And this charity is all about just creating the best teenagers and the best youths possible in Australia. And one day they're going to be our CEOs and our prime ministers, and that's a pretty scary thought. But to be able to create the best versions of teenagers we possibly can, and that's basically what Jim was trying to do from the get-go. And Jim did that with me. I was a pretty, as we've talked about a little bit today, I was a pretty raw teen growing up. I was winning Domino's contests, and Steinsy let me be me, and he let me be different, and he was different, and it's a really good message to anyone growing up that it's okay to be the person you want to be. And I encourage everyone to donate. Our major sponsor Zurich has started things off, and they've donated 25,000 as well. So it's a really good start.
Good stuff.
Absolutely.
Well said.
Well
By
shot.
the way, I love what you've done with the interior design of the room too, by the way. Well done. It's great.
Maxie, good luck for the rest of the season, mate. You're always really generous with your time. Thanks for coming on the show tonight.
Thanks, guys. Thanks,
He's one of the very best. There's no question about that.